Welcome to Heaven Percent, a podcast dedicated to bringing heaven to earth and recognizing the divine within the ordinary. My name's Alex Karnev. I'm one of your co-hosts, joined by my other co-host, Jimmy LaRue. And dude, today we're talking about somatic healing. We're going to explore breath work and our journeys with nervous system regulation and healing. So let's see where this goes, man. Where should we start?
Let's do it, brother. I'm excited to do some nervous system redemption, if you will, which is for a lot of people because nobody, I would say percentage-wise, maybe 20% of the population knows about nervous system regulation. And so I'm excited to have you kind of lead us through the breath work, the way to connect to our bodies today.
Yeah, there's a lot, man. And it's true. A lot of people are scared of their emotions. And the root cause of that is because of the past and, the experiences we go through, right? They cause us to feel emotions as kids, and then these emotions are still in our nervous system as we grow up. And essentially they express in different ways when we experience different situations. So I'll give everyone a rundown, and then maybe we can explore like my story, and then
I was just going to ask that.
Go.
You could give us some context of like how you found this type of healing for your own journey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So let's see here. All in all, a simple definition of nervous system healing is clearing energetic blockages that are in your body, right? Somatic healing, soma, is of the body. And for me, man, growing up, I was always just this extremely sensitive and observant kid. Like all these kids growing up, you hear they're crazy, they open drawers, they're like screaming. I was literally sitting in my chair or wherever I was, and I was just like this. That's what my mom always said. I was just like an angel, right? I was looking around all the time. With that, I found I was so incredibly captivated by whatever was in front of me, and I was always looking at everything and observing it and like, whoa, yeah, whoa. And I remember I was still in Chatham, so I grew up in Chatham until grade 4 in Ontario, and then I moved to Windsor in grade 4. And I remember in Chatham before grade 4, I would look in the mirror and I would look at myself with this kind of awe, and it would just make me feel really strange and be like, I'm gonna die one day. Like I'm telling myself this in the mirror as a kid. And I was very conscious and just very observant, as I said. So with that being said, as I grew up and I started getting into the period of school where there's more bullying and opinions and clout and teasing, identity, I found that, man, I was so easily thrown off my center. Wow. I was extremely emotional. There was a point in school where I remember I was crying so often. Someone would just say something and it would make me cry. I cried all the time.
Dang.
And I thought I was so weak because of that. Weak. Yeah, I thought I was worthless. Weak, like I can't not cry. Like people have this ability to just manipulate me because my emotions just, react in such an intense way. So I'd get yelled at, cry, I'd feel sick, cry, I would, anything, I'd cry. And it's not until I got to high school where I recognized that I was much more sensitive. So, for example, if I were to get sick physically, I just kind of felt like when I went through it, for whatever reason, I always had this idea that when I went through something like that, it was way more intense. Or when I would experience something, it was way more intense. It felt like my existence was regular, like I didn't go through anything crazy, like a car crash, like yourself. Yet it felt like the ordinary experience of life for me was so intense because of how susceptible or sensible I was. Sensitivity was just through the roof all the time. So getting into entrepreneurship, man, it was an emotional roller coaster when I got into entrepreneurship, because in entrepreneurship, it is a lot, right? You're dealing with finances, you're dealing with clients saying no, you're dealing with sales pressure, you're dealing with marketing, you're dealing with social media where you have to market yourself. And for me, I didn't know really how to market myself. So growing up, I didn't really say much. I learned what to say, and I learned how to speak, and I learned how to speak the right words for the right responses. So I wasn't deemed as having no personality, because that really affected me when people said that. And that really led me to only saying the right things, but not really having my energy in the right place. So my authenticity wasn't there at all. I was really just, faking it because that's all I knew, right? That was the people pleasing aspect, which led me to the emotional roller coaster of entrepreneurship, struggling, making these investments to learn, not seeing the return on investment. And, I remember there was a period where I'd feel the highest of highs and the lowest of lows all in the same day, which was crazy. I didn't know if I was having a good day or a bad day anymore, because I'd wake up with anxiety, and then I would listen to some music and I would feel absolutely blissful. I'd go to the gym and feel absolutely depressed because no one's there that I know. And then, yeah, man, I would just get home and just freak out about money. And it was the most emotional I've ever been. And then I found a breathwork facilitator. Like, I tell him this all the time, Jake. His name is Jake Wan, and he's got over 500K on social media now because he's crushing it, and I love him. He's doing God's work, but he took me through my first breathwork session. And I had done breathwork before. I had done 10 minutes of breath with Wim Hof multiple times. I even had a 75 hard challenge where I did it every day for 75 days, which was awesome. But what Jake took me through was way different. This was not 10 minutes. This was an hour and a half of deep somatic healing, of, clearing all the energy in and out. And there's music, and there's, I don't know what you call it, with the Reiki healing and all this stuff. I'm not in all of that, but there was just this energetic cleansing that started to happen. And it was so funny. Before I even paid him and did one-on-one coaching with him, he said, I'll do a free session with you just to show you the power. And we went through this session together. And this was the most connected to my heart I've ever felt. After one session, first session, 1 hour.
Wow.
And I get back on the call with him. It's always super disorienting meeting the person who just gave you this, or directed you towards this experience. I was like, you changed my life, and I just met you, man. This is crazy.
Special.
So that started the entire journey of the next 3 months. This was April through May through June 2024. And yeah, man, I would pay millions to have that same experience, and I only paid a couple $1,000s.
That's incredible. That's incredible. What would you say too, Alex, about for those that, I think a lot of us can relate to the lows, right? I mean, maybe not so much if they're not in entrepreneurship, but in the space of when you hit your highs, with your emotional sensitivity or awareness, whatever you want to call it, you were loaded in the emotional realm. So lows were low and you cry. But what were the highs like?
Yeah, the highs were just as intense as the lows. It's a very good question. And the lows specifically were apathy. So nothing's fun, nothing's interesting. And worthlessness, shame. I'm nothing. The highs were more so creative expression. I was always super creative. So that was something that I was really able to feel. And also just consuming something that seemed to resonate with me at the highest levels. So music, like Post Malone, some songs where I could share the hurt with someone for a couple minutes in a beautiful, artful way. That's what it kind of looked like.
Wow. I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, so the highs super high and the lows super low. And then in the midst of entrepreneurship and the journey that you're on, you found this breath work with this amazing coach. And now with your creativity, how has that blended?
Oh man. Yeah, well, that's the thing with the breath work, right? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
That was 3 months of 1 hour to even close to 2 hour sessions pretty much every week or every other week, sometimes multiple times a week. And the amount of clearing that did for me was incredible. And when I say clearing, I mean triggers just vanish. And how you know that you are clearing energetic blockages is very similar to hypnotherapy, right? Where you go into the memory, which triggers the emotion, and then you sit with that emotion, or you breathe it out in a broken breath. When you're doing somatic healing and you're releasing these stored blockages, this trauma, right? And you see these videos online of these people shaking. I used to think that was all fake. I used to think that's weird. Like, what are they doing? Like, that's not a good marketing tactic.
Wow.
And it hasn't happened to me in that sense where it's like that intense. I'm gifted to not have that much tension in my body from my past. But for me, the clearing was very like when you take a breath and you cry, you're like,
Wow.
That is literally a release of the energetic blockage that is going on as you cry. The cry is a release, right? That's why you feel so good after. You just released it. So tying back to creativity, you can see that the definition of creativity is really just getting out of the way. Like God created us. It's so cool that we get to create from like what we have here. We have to get out of our identities. We have to get out of, who we think we are. So dude, it's changed creativity for good, because creativity is not production. Creativity is not planning. Creativity is not scripting. Creativity is pure spontaneity in whatever feels good in the moment, right? And I find the biggest way that it's changed my creativity is I'm not trying to make content on social media as a coach, right? I'm letting my senses create whatever they want to create, kind of like regardless of the box that is social media or Instagram or YouTube. These are beautiful containers, but it's like the biggest thing is it's allowed me to go past the container and then, like explore how can I get this into YouTube, or how can I get this into video format.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Thank you.
How does that feel?
Are you asking how does it feel like that I get to do this, or how does it feel within the process of creating itself? Or both?
Stories in the teller.
Yeah, I think for me,
I think both was my question, really, I think, honestly.
Yeah, it makes me feel special, and I know that everyone has it because everyone can get out of their own way. So that's why everyone has it. But I do feel special that I get to lead people in this domain. And dude, if we talk about how it feels during the process itself, it's what makes life fulfilling. It's what makes life meaningful, because you can get so good at something that suddenly it goes from action to art form. And suddenly you're not just wrestling, playing hockey, painting, creating, video editing. Like suddenly you're not just doing the action of that sport, of that activity.
Wow.
You get so good at the skills over time that you master the skills, and then the art form kind of has a mind of its own. And it starts manipulating, the video formats. It starts manipulating quality. It starts manipulating, even in hockey, right? Like there are things that keep happening in the game more and more that are completely out of this world because they're an art form to watch. Somebody express the body in this way.
Wow. Yeah.
So I find it's what makes life so fulfilling, because instead of, a destination of, for example, I post on social media and I get 10,000 followers from that post, people think that's the goal. And I used to think that's the goal, but it's like when you get there, when you get the milestone, you're like, okay, cool. Nice. There's just like 5 hours of like, get it, guys, And then it's like, all right, let's continue playing the game. Because playing the game, doing the art is what is actually fulfilling. And what's beautiful too, man, is it's so fulfilling and there's no logic behind it. It doesn't make sense why it's fun. You just want to keep doing it.
Yeah. That's really connected.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people always talk about how they need to get out of do and more into be. And out of have Or if they stay in have, they need to see what they do have, not what they don't have. And it's cool to hear you say that no, when you tap into your breath and you do this somatic healing process, you're a part of the art. And that's like, wow. Well, I mean, what comes to mind when I say that?
The artist's way is fulfilling. The achiever's way is a bonus, is a byproduct.
Nice.
So if I'm using hockey as the mirror for my teachings,
Yeah.
which I love. It's my favorite thing. If I go and I score a goal, right? Am I going to celebrate? Yeah. Is that what brings me the most fulfillment? No, it's the process in which that got me there. So if I get my confidence from the process and not the end product, guess what? I'm going to have all my focus be on the mastery of the process itself, which turns into art. That is fulfilling. And when I do score, that is just nice. You know, it impacted the world in an external way.
Right.
That's what's so awesome about this, right? Like when you take someone down in wrestling, it's great. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, right? But it's not like that is, it's not like you can do that when you're alone. You don't have anyone there with you. That is just the manifestation of you working on your skills and practicing.
Right.
On no one, or on, I see they have those weighted cushions, or you just practicing itself.
Shadow
right?
drilling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So to end that point, yeah, I just think it's so fulfilling and it makes no sense. And I'm okay with that. And I think that's what makes it beautiful is I don't know why I love stick handling and shooting just in my driveway. Makes no sense. I'm participating in an art form to the point where Alex is not playing hockey anymore, but I'm getting like this instrument, this vessel is so good at just the skills and whatnot that divine intelligence almost starts to happen through, you know? So it's the same with wrestling in your situation. It's like if you were to get so good or get into a flow state, suddenly it's not Jimmy wrestling. Suddenly it's just this divine harmonization of intuition, instinct, flow, like brain waves. You know, you're just the instrument experiencing this mastery.
Yeah. Dang, man. That's
Yeah.
good.
Bringing this back to nervous system healing, like why I'm talking about all this is because if you have nervous system blockages, you can't flow like that within the sport itself. You know,
That's a big deal. But, and I'm glad you said that because that's kind of my question that I have for you then. What about the people that are unaware and they're like, Alex, I breathe all the time. Like, big whoop, bro. Like, I'm glad that you feel like you're healing, but I breathe all the time. I don't see what the big point is. What would you say to that?
I think that those are not the people who are going to be watching this podcast to this point.
They're closed. They're not open. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching 30 minutes of this or 25, whatever we're at, like you're doing this work, you're breathing. And, you know, it's funny, there's a joke, like I got a coach to help me breathe. It's like, whoa, okay, cool. You know, we're all doing
so
that.
Simple. Yeah.
Same with speaking. You get a coach to help you speak. We're all doing that. Wow, great job, man. There's levels to the art form that is being human. That's why self-mastery seems to be like the thing that I want to help people with. But yeah, man, I think that those people are just, those people are not watching, which is good.
Right.
And if they are watching, then the opportunity is to open some hearts and to be void of judgment, I guess.
Yeah. And judgment's going to come. Yet I would encourage everybody to listen right now. Listen to learn and learn to listen and be open. Because in this open space is where these channels can open even wider. And I'm excited to, have you, Alex, like lead us through what this looks like.
Yeah. I think like in terms of how it looks, it's a good process. I think you really have to be ready for somatic healing. It's actually something that I don't force upon anyone because It's like, whoa, you know, the only reason that I actually got into it was because I was feeling the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in the same day, and that's not really sustainable. You know, if I had the choice, I wouldn't have done it, because who wants to do that? You know, like who wants to go to the deep end of their own pool and just meet all the darkest parts of themselves for self-improvement? It's like, I don't want to do that right now. Like I want to make money. I want to, you know, like all the materialistic things that most people are after in a shallow state of consciousness. So I would say if you're someone who's very emotional, and you're someone who is interested in what healing actually looks like, I think the breath is a tool that connects the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical.
Right.
So it's a beautiful tool to actually heal all parts of yourself. And the first step, man, like I want to reflect this question back to you. The first step is getting one with the breath and doing the Wim Hof consistently, and, you know, seeing how out of breath you get, seeing how uncomfortable it is, and then finding comfort within that. So for you, with breath work and like with all of this area of discussion, you know, how does this make you feel?
Great. I mean, I've times that I've done Wim Hof and various types of breath work, I love every piece of it. I love the moments where I'm like, can I hold this any longer? I think I might die, pass out. And then all of a sudden I find 10 more seconds of connection to my body. And these moments of like tingling, if you will, in my blood. And it's like all of this signals from my body that are sent to me because I'm doing this deep breath work and I'm connecting so deeply. So that's how I feel. I'm freaking pumped to see how similar it is to what I've done, and then just open space for what is, because that's what this does, I feel.
Have you noticed any uncomfort, or, I don't know, like a big thing is rhythm? Have you noticed that a lot of breath work, sometimes it's hard to get into rhythm, especially with whoever's facilitating? Or you were saying how the inhale and the exhale does sound pretty similar sometimes. Have you noticed any of that difficult?
I mean, I think on an inhale or an exhale, based off what I've learned, is like both are great. It's just the desire to do it right.
Wow, well said.
And that's what I think is going to be huge for everybody. Is like they want to get it right. It's like, bro, breathe.
Literally, dude.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good point.
Thank you, fam.
Super
you
good
helped me
point.
learn that too, so.
Have you noticed any emotions come up, or any kind of memories come up? Something like that? Or is there an opportunity to, you know, go deeper within it to see if something like that comes up?
I think there's an opportunity to go deeper to find high or low emotions and frequencies and vibrations. Yet, every time that I've ever breathed, I don't even remember what I thought about, kind of thing. Like I go into alpha mind and I feel like I'm just chilling with the subconscious and just connecting deeply to my surroundings, to where things kind of like move around a little differently too, as if I'm tripping, bro. Like it's amazing what our physiological, like antidepressants or whatever you want to call them, can like be influenced from breathing and being centered. So yeah, I'm curious and excited to see what comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I've had so many insane experiences breathing. Like I can speak to a few right now. Dude, especially if you breathe with intention, right? People may be watching this, you might be watching this and being like, oh, I gotta go breathe, and that'll get me healing, then that'll get me spiritually advanced, and that'll get me be a better person, better entrepreneur. And it's like this striving, and there's a time and place for that. And when there's tension in your nervous system and you feel called, that's a big word, feel called into doing something deep like this, you will get the most benefit or most transcendent experiences from it. Dude, I don't even know how many times I've done an hour plus of breathing, probably in the hundreds of hours of breath, with music, with headphones, totally like eye mask, totally blocking the external world out. And what happens is the first round, depending on how long it is. Wim Hof is usually 30 seconds to like a minute or something, 30 breaths
Yeah.
in, 30 breaths out. What Jake had me do was like 8 to 10 minutes of breathing straight up, like the whole time. 8 minutes for round one to
Wow.
get acclimated, like all the way in, all the way
Man.
out. And then take more in this time, all the way out. Breathe into the belly deeper this time, and then bring it in all the way. Like bringing in so much oxygen that you start to bring in more consciousness, right? Like your body is so primed to the point where, yeah, your mind does expand.
Wow.
And for me, man, a big theme for round one is, man, this sucks. I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't like this at all. You know, like I'm really struggling physically. Usually it's a physical sensation. And then round two is you're getting into the flow of things, and then you start to really feel the flow. You start to feel like, oh man, like I'm primed up, I'm breathing, and this feels so incredibly amazing. I could do this for a very long time. It
Right.
probably feels like runner's high. I've never experienced runner's high because I've never ran for that amount of consistency. Yet it feels like breathing, you are doing God's work at the macro level. You could do it forever. You feel great. And then round three is really round three and round four, depending on how many rounds and how long you do, is very much like, okay, I've been flowing for a while now. I've been taking in a lot of air. I'm like feeling the electricity in my blood. I am feeling primed. I am getting these memories. I'm remembering that love is what's most important. I'm feeling so connected to my heart. My heart feels like it's just moving blood through my body so well. It's very vital type energy. But when we get to the last round, which is the hardest round, it's like the hardest round, but like you almost don't know if you're going to be okay. You keep breathing in the last round, and what Jake really had me do is just push myself and see how much more you can take in. And this is when the music is at its climax also. So you are feeling like you're on the last lap, but you're exhausted. You know, you're really expanding the electricity system in your body. You are expanding what you're capable of by, you know, revamping your nervous system with so much oxygen and consciousness in the air.
Gosh.
And that is when that's the climax of the experience, where you can literally go somewhere. And I've gone somewhere a couple times where, you know, I had an eye mask on, yet I'm seeing the walls of my room.
Wow.
I've got the eye mask on. I'm seeing the walls of my room. I'm seeing these ancient symbols, and I'm experiencing memories. It's not like I'm thinking, like what you said. It's not like you're thinking, yet there is an awareness that is so in the body, feeling just the power that you hold, that kind of takes over the entire experience and feels like you're just healing yourself. Feels like your body has just fallen into this pit of magical fairy dust of love, joy, enthusiasm, and vitality, where it's like shining you, and it's like giving you electricity from within. And it's one of the most transcendent, beautiful experiences that you could ever have.
Wow.
And a lot of like the biggest releases, and releasing shame, and, you know, actually loving myself and believing for the first time ever that, you know, I am good enough. That's when all of those feelings start to come through, because all the blockages are suddenly not blocking that flow from being seen and experienced. And then from there, you go into slow, soft, deep inhales through the nose and slow exhales through the mouth. And this kind of just like marinates the experience and just gets you to really like ground, center, feel all the love, all the joy, all the enthusiasm. And like love, I say not in terms of romantic love or love for the facilitator. I say love in terms of you just feel perfect. You feel enough. You feel perfect. Not only enough, you feel like you are divinely where you're meant to be. And then you get out of it, and then you're like, whoa, what's up, dude? You just guided me through this experience, and I feel like a different person now.
Dang, bro. Sounds like presence and wholesome and like wholeness.
Wholeness is a good word. I would second that. Wholeness is pretty much all you feel in the last slow part of it. You know, and what's interesting too is our emotions in ordinary life are so, I feel like so ordinary, right? Like, you know what anxiety feels like, you know what fear feels like, all of these emotions feel a certain way, yet when you get to experience the emotions that come when you breathe this deeply and like this wholesomeness and this joy and this love,
Yeah.
they're not in the same, they're not even on the same level of emotion. Like I don't even know if you can call this emotion. It's like the emotion is like, it's so expansive. It's not even, you can't even call it an emotion almost. Yeah. And what's interesting too is linking this to hypnotherapy. I found that hypnotherapy, in terms of somatic healing, is very good for the mental aspect and the emotional, but mostly the mental. You know, when your mind keeps going and remembers all of this resentment and this anger or the sadness or, you know, the moments where you got rejected, the somatics release that. The hypnotherapy allows you to go and be with and sit with, and release kind of like the projections, the images in your mind that are linked to that emotion. I was with my family, and there's this show that we were watching. I was explaining the show, and there's so many layers of deception in the show, and someone was like, what's the show about? So I explained the show. I'm like, I'm not going to spoil it, but the show's about this and about this, and then they find out that there's this, and then someone goes, oh, it sounds like you spoiled it. And everyone kind of laughs a little bit. And then in that moment, I sit and I feel like, man, every part of me wants to say, actually, I didn't, because there's layers of deception. And this is only the first layer. I only told you like up until the second season. This is not even the story.
Right.
Yet that response is coming from a kid who is not seen and who's not understood and needs to prove that he didn't mess it up. You know, versus, you know, the adult or the one who's really grown up. I didn't say this, but I recognize what I could have said would have been, man, that's a great point. I appreciate you saying that. There's actually layers of deception. So I didn't even mention that, you know? So how I view myself is really, you know, finally integrating into those family moments.
You know, real quick, I hope that a lot of our people that are viewing this and listening and feeling with us are able to resonate with the example you just gave, because that was a beautiful, mature response that requires so much evolution, evolving of the self to be able to respond instead of react. Yeah. Because a lot of reactions, I guarantee some people checking this out right now is like, yeah, shut up. If you just listen, you know, I'm not even done. You want to interrupt again? Like, maybe just listen. And it's like, gosh dang, but instead you're like, dude, that's a great point. And actually, this and this. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Very wise.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I noticed that within myself, you know, people like contradicting what I say or saying I'm wrong in a sense makes me feel like I got to prove myself all of a sudden.
Right.
It's like, no, I don't. Yeah. You know, it's like, why do I have to prove myself? Oh, because I don't think that I'm worthy enough. I don't think that I belong. You know, I'm making it about my identity. For example, if I say a joke and it's not funny and you say, swing and a miss, Alex. You know, I could be like, oh, you know, that was a swing and a miss, you know, whatever. Or I could say, I'm a terrible comedian. I'm not even a little bit funny. I'm not this. I'm not that. Right?
Yeah.
Two completely
and you're just
different
stupid.
responses.
You didn't get the joke.
You didn't get the joke, you know? It's
That would be their reaction. You're just too dumb. You can't understand.
you're just an idiot, you know?
Yeah. You could waste my breath.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's yeah, integration is a painful and patient process, you know, to have all this somatic healing and like surrender and work finally be shown in real life, You know, like if you're the best wrestler, but for some reason you always get taken down, yet you know you're the best. It's like, what? So it's good to finally see the wins come, but then also recognize that the process of getting better is where you get the confidence from.
Dude, that's so good.
Yeah. What comes up for you as I share all of this about self-image and identity specifically? Because I know that's a big part of your work.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people call them different things. Some people call it their trash. Some people call it their belief system. Some people call it their programs. So my programs that have run a lot of my life, belief systems, is that I'm not enough, and I find evidence to make sure that's true. And in the midst of that finding, you'll even create it to make sure it's true. And so it's been a beautiful process of subconscious rewiring and retraining of the mind and altering of focus to witness, hey, like when someone says something like that, it still triggers the belief system. It's always there. It's never going to go away. We can release the baggage around it. And so that's what I love about this somatic healing and breath work, is that, like, listen to the messages, right? And like I said, most of mine is most just centering in this experience with nature. Yet I'm sure there's another layer to go to be able to go to the highs and the lows and the places that I don't want to, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, like, I think that we met at a perfect time, and you introduced me to Jesus, and or Yeshua, depending on how you identify him. Because, you know, like in the darkest moments, I found him there. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't say that I didn't, like, he was just there. And he's like, I know, you know, and I think when you're not willing to go somewhere, yet you do anyway, and you recognize you are still safe because you are not alone there, it's like, whoa, I'm never alone. This is so different. Whoa. I thought I was going to be, and I was willing, and I finally had the courage to go in this alone, yet I am not.
Dang.
So
dude.
it's just interesting, especially when I fell on my face as well. I saw him. So yeah, man, he's cool that we're never alone.
He's Emmanuel, God with us. And I think that, like you said, whatever people call it, there is an opportunity to seek. And when you honestly seek and look for evidence, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful that I did find God him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a song that I want to send to you, and I'd love to just tell everybody else on here too of how powerful it is. It's Crucified in Christ by Jimmy Clifton. Yeah, one of my mentors sent it to me, and I listened to it, and it gave me chills the first time I listened to it. And then I listened to it again, and I had the lyrics up, and I started crying. I was like, wow, you know, like, and that emotion right there is what is possible in breath work too. Like, how cool.
Well, I think that's the only emotion that's left, and again, it's not even an emotion, but that's all that's left when breath work happens, because there's nothing left. There's nothing blocked, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely interesting how I feel like so many people have it right to, you know, follow Jesus or to whatever, worship or be with or just feel the presence of God beyond all religion. Yet what I love about breathwork is it's really proved to me that it's all that is left when you go through the deep end of the ordinary, of your ordinary experience. So
that's good, dude. I love that.
Yeah, because you hear it all the time, right? Oh, we live in an abundant universe. There's love all around us. It's like, no, there's not. I'm feeling so shameful. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right? So I think that that's really helped me because of the way I grew up. I don't know why, but I had this pessimistic mind and kind of like this, I can't get hypnotized. I won't get any experience with breath work, like all these different things. So going through something like this made me feel like a kid again at Disney World where I did believe in magic. You
Mm.
know, it's
Wow.
suddenly magic is still real.
Mm. Dang, that hits the heart right there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. If you have a kid, bring them to Disney World.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we uh are we set for this episode? Is there anything else you want to say?
And I want to say incredible job, man. Thank you for sharing your story with all of us in that breathwork journey, and that everyone has their own. And that, yeah, I'm excited to embrace some more of mine, to where you helped me realize that maybe I'm holding on to something when I'm in a space of centeredness, even. And so I'm excited to see what comes up, and maybe not. We don't know. And that's what's cool about this work, is that in the being, doing, and having, like, yeah, it is. It just is. Not right or wrong. And so I'm excited to see if there's a more effective for me to experience in the next uh, abundance of breath work to do with you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if there's things that I could say that can hit your heart very deeply, and there's videos that we've made together, like your story that you can watch and that hits your heart very deeply, there are so many different practices that can do the same on tons of different levels and intensities. So, yeah, I think yeah, man, if you feel called into it, then plunge right in, dive
Of
right
course.
in,
Yeah.
dive in head first, deep end, zoom.
Dive in, I say. I am thankful for the opportunity to tap into superconscious. And that in the midst of being with superconscious, with God, Yeshua, energy, is that I get the chance to be with a brother right here, right now. And even though it's not in a physical realm, Lord, it's in a virtual realm. And I think that's an energetic realm. And I thank you for the opportunity to maneuver energy and allow it to flow through us, and to allow blockages to be broken up, and allow hard things to be released, so that we can really have our hands open to grab onto things that you want us to, as opposed to the things that have never served us in the first place. So, Lord, I thank you for your divine intervention, your divine appointments, and the way that Alex and I have connected in this life, and that we get the chance to really be, do, and have as much as we can, because that's the kind of God that you are. You're an abundant God, and I'm thankful for that. So that's my gratitude, is just this very moment right here, right now.
Beautifully said, dude. Very beautifully said. I love how you mentioned this is not like a physical space that we are in, but like a virtual realm, or
Mm.
like an energetic realm that we're in. And I'm grateful for that. It makes me think of the power of our thoughts as well, and how those are also virtual realms. And when we think, we create.
Mm.
Yeah, cheers to this episode. I thank you, Jimmy, for allowing me the space to share my story and to share the power of this breath. Find like breath is one of the things that have changed my life dramatically the most, and really, allowed my nervous system to expand. So I'm grateful for that experience that I had with Jake. I'm grateful for the experiences I've had to surrender and to integrate, and I'm grateful to be able to share it here with you. So I love you for that. And it feels like life is free and beautiful over time when you decide to breathe, surrender, and integrate. I find that that's been a truth for me, is the surrender process and putting down the sword, letting life happen through you, letting the emotions be felt, sitting, feeling, seeing the little boy, the little girl within you is everything. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. Surrender, surrender, surrender will teach you so much. And it's taught me so much. And I'm grateful for being chosen, and being chosen to be a leader in this realm of healing, in this realm of mastery. It's not easy. It will feel like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Everyone else is working. Everyone else has a job. Everyone else is smiling, and I'm not. Like, why do I have to take everything so personally? It all makes sense, and I'm grateful for the artist that is God. and the blank canvas that is our experience that we get to create.
Right.
And lastly, I'm extremely grateful for my health, because I'm recognizing how not fun it is to be sick or under the weather even a little bit. But yeah, grateful for vitality, grateful for the healing powers all around us, for breath, for hypnotherapy, for the experience of growing and glowing through this hard period with you, because you helped me a ton through this hardship when I was going through so much surrender. And I'm grateful that God is one, but he became two for the joy of becoming one again.
Dang.
I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for form. I'm grateful for this density of being. I'm grateful for 3D life. It's incredible. And we get to have this experience of being separate, you know, coming together.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. And we get to create
Yeah. That is beautiful.
limitlessly. So amen to that. And yeah, thank you again for holding the space for me in this episode, bro. I appreciate you.
Thank you, bro. It's an honor.
All right. Amen. See you guys next time.
Sweet, bro.